Welcome everyone, Bill Dow here, and I am super excited about this video. In this video, I want to talk about establishing and executing a project governance structure. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I cover both PMO videos and project management videos. I want to set the context. This is really for PMO leaders and really using the experiences I've had running 10 PMOs over the last 20 years. So the context is really from a PMO leadership perspective. Let's jump into it. I love this topic because companies struggle so much with creating and executing on a project governance structure. Very few get it right. So what are some of the problems PMO leaders face when you don't have a governance structure in place? Well, let me get into that now. First, without a governance structure, our business and our operations groups are going to be asking for projects that are not always aligned to corporate strategy. That's a huge problem. Second, pet projects from executive leaders are quite often focused on just for their organization. So we could have multiple leaders asking for the same types of projects, multiple projects the same type going on, and really being done so in isolation. That's wasting time, that's wasting company resources, and it's really a huge problem. Third, governance structures often have priority processes, scoring systems, resource management processes built in, which really leads to our companies doing the right projects at the right time with the highest strategic value. I could keep going, but you get my point. Without a governance structure, companies will struggle. Does that make sense? It is interesting, right? Comment below if you're struggling with project governance, and I'm dying to hear. Maybe I could adhere, and basically maybe I could also help out. Okay, while you're doing that, let me tell you why companies get into this process and really struggle to create governance structures. Number one of the main reasons why we're in this position and companies don't have formal governance, because it's hard. It's very difficult to do. Governance structures take a huge organizational shift, and they take the company focusing on what's right for the company, not for the individual organization. It takes a level of maturity where companies sometimes are just not at to implement such a formal governance structure. Number two, executive support must be in place for governance structures to work, right from the highest level all the way down to the IC or the individual contributor level. Everyone's got to be bought into the governance structure. If you don't have that top to bottom support, this governance structure will go nowhere and you will struggle. Okay, number three, organizational teams don't want to lose control of the projects and their budget for their particular organization. So often what you're seeing is an organization such as finance, for example, will get dollars to do projects, and they'll do them in isolation, and they won't do them across a governance structure. We really have to get away from doing that and really putting governance and dollars at that organizational level so everyone's doing the right thing. Okay, so I've done this for over 31 years. I've been in the project management industry. I've ran 10 PMOs across 4 different companies. I've seen this happen a lot. Let me give you some possible solutions, what you could do at your company to get you out of this. Okay, first, it must start with running a series of programs and projects through a governance structure, right? Every company needs to get that governance structure. For all the risks and hassles of putting a governance structure in place, companies need that. So you just have to buckle down, and really the first thing I would say is you need to get that executive support, and you need to say we're doing a governance structure and everyone's going to follow that structure. Number two, hire out. Some big consulting firms have done governance structures before. You don't have to wing this. This doesn't have to be a grassroots thing. Hire out consulting companies that can come in and help you build out a framework of a governance structure. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be everything nailed from top to bottom, but they can come in and they can very quickly get a governance structure in place, and then as you continue to mature and grow that governance structure, their foundation that they help you lay will give you a head start instead of having to do this from a grassroots and not having anything. And finally, crawl, walk, run, right? If you've watched my material before and you've listened to me before, I really say it all the time. When you can set up a governance structure from the very beginning and then just continue to slowly implement and slowly increase the maturity. You don't have to you don't have to make this a marathon. You don't have to do things as fast as possible. You want to get that structure in place, and then you want to slowly build and keep building and building. What do you think? Does that make sense? I've been doing this for years, and I really wanted to make sure as we think about governance structures and getting them in place, I wanted to give you some of those tips and best practices. Just a reminder, if you like these stories, you like this kind of content, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that little bell, and you'll see future videos and future PMO and project management videos coming all the time. But before I go, all right, I do want to ask you a question. And I'm dying to know in the comments, do you guys have a formal governance structure in place? Do you guys run a lot of pet projects from an individual organization perspective? Let me know below, right? Comment below, because I'm really interested in, and again, I potentially could actually help you in your company. So let me know from that perspective. Quick reminder, I'm releasing new videos all the time, right? I want you to watch my next video on how to doing the wrong projects, right? And actually competing against governance structure. So we talked about really that pet project scenario. Watch this next video about kind of going around the governance structure and what you could, as a PMO leader, can do about that. My name is Bill Dow. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you online.